I think voter suppression in Texas is going to be part of the reason why. I don't know. I don't think Texas is going to turn blue, even though many people think it might.
Yeah.
So Hasan, I linked you the letter from Philadelphia if you would like to see the source for my claim about 100,000 votes. If your stream cares,
Do it on Twitter.
let me just say this: if Trump
Okay.
wins Pennsylvania, this is a pure coin flip.
Yeah.
Like we have no and frankly, I think Trump is actually a favorite to win re-election if he wins Pennsylvania. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win Pennsylvania. I'm just saying that the Philadelphia city commissioners were so concerned. They wrote a letter. They said that you would have thrown out 11,000 ballots in the primary that they did count. In the second paragraph on the second page, they say that we estimate 30 to 40,000 ballots will be naked in Philadelphia alone, and that'll amount to around 100,000 ballots statewide. Trump won by 44,000 votes in 2016. This is a concern.
Wait,
also,
but wait, hold on. If you think he wins Pennsylvania, like, where are the other? Then are you predicting that he's like winning Michigan and Wisconsin? Like, where do you think Trump is winning? That is, Trump still has to maintain his. Trump still has to obviously perform just as well as he did in 2016.
Trump doesn't need to win Michigan or Wisconsin if he wins Pennsylvania.
Right. He doesn't need those two states.
If he keeps every other state but loses Michigan and Wisconsin but wins Pennsylvania, he still wins.
Right.
In order for Biden
wait, hold on. What are the other states that he's winning in this circumstance?
If he's winning Pennsylvania,
Georgia, Florida, Texas, you know, if he wins those.
Okay, that's what I was trying to understand. Where you're like,
yeah,
is it Pennsylvania and also Florida and also Georgia and also Arizona, or is it Pennsylvania and where else?
I mean, you know, Biden has a lead that is pretty similar to what Hillary had in the polling average in Pennsylvania compared to 2016. Now, polls have changed. They have started to, a lot of pollsters have started to balance by education, which was a big mistake they say they made in 2016. And I tend to think higher turnout is good for Biden. You know, then again, white non-college educated voters are one of the areas of the population that had lower turnout, so they could be a source of higher turnout in you know, overall. So it's difficult to say, I mean, exactly how things are shaking out. I'm more cautiously optimistic because of the leads in Wisconsin and Michigan, and then also having so many, you know, so many states are leaning Biden according to the evidence we have. It seems like he'll be able to escape with 270.
The big reason why Wisconsin polling has gotten increasingly bad for the president is because of the surge in coronavirus cases per capita there. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I've said this a lot. Trump is the incumbent president, and the incumbent president will take, you know, blame for crises. Look at, you know, the recession in 1992 under George H.W. Bush. You look at the several messes under Jimmy Carter. That's how Ronald Reagan was able to win partly. And of course, famously, 1932, when Herbert Hoover lost in a landslide to FDR. So, you know, that's part of the reason why right now in polling, Wisconsin looks as bad for the president as Michigan. And a big thing is, even if you apply the same polling errors to, you know, these states, you know, Biden would still win, even if you applied the 2016 polling errors. But, you know, as you said, in 2016, a lot of polls did not weigh white voters, in their sample by education. They underestimated, you know, how big of a gap there would be and how big of a turnout there would be among non-college educated white voters, which is very Republican demographic. So now polling has really corrected that. Just like how kind of polling corrected itself in 1948 after it got, you know, that election wrong. You know, they said Truman was done for. So really the polling should be this more accurate time around. I think the only polling error I would not be surprised by is Florida. I would not be surprised if Trump won Florida.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we're gonna have a night where we can kind of relax, I would be looking at North Carolina and Florida. You know, back in 2016, there was a big buzz about Hillary Clinton's early vote lead in North Carolina. A lot of people basically, you know, put it in the bag for Hillary. and yeah, and it ended up not being that particularly close in North Carolina. I mean, Trump won a pretty solid win there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he won by 3 points, and he did, outperform, the polling average. But a big thing this time around is that you have Cooper, right? The governor, Roy Cooper, who's up double digits, or at least bare minimum single digits, high single digits in the polls. That coupled with Cal Cunningham, despite his stupid decisions to have an affair while running for U.S. Senate, still has pretty decent polling.
I disagree.
You think that's a smart decision?
I think we need to normalize affairs in America.
I think Cal Cunningham did nothing wrong. Okay, he just wanted. He was a lip hungry.
Affairs.
He's a God-fearing man, but he was a lip-hungry slut. That's what he was, and he wanted some kissy poos.
A lip-hungry slut. Oh, yeah. Jesus.
He just wanted to kiss very hard.
He wanted the smooches. He wanted the
historically
smooches.
Sexy.
Yeah.
The polls have been historically sexy for him. I think I just saw someone in chat say Cal Cunningham.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Corona brain. Like, if we give ourselves permission to have Corona brain, like, can we not let our politicians represent us?
Wait, is this true? Did he actually was Cal Cunningham Jody? Wait, someone is saying that the lady that he was having an affair with was like the wife of a disabled veteran or something.
Yeah, veteran, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that part. I just saw the fucking,
Holy shit, I'm gonna donate to his campaign.
I just saw that. Okay, dude, Jesus. I just saw that he was like texting her and saying stuff like, I want to kiss you extra hard, things like that.
You're historically sexy.
Yeah, you're historically sexy. Okay, first of all, everybody's saying like, fuck you, Mike. You act like the quadriplegic the veteran guy who did the fucking build the wall scam. Like, you act like you wouldn't have sex with that guy's wife. You know what I mean? Like, that dude's wife.
Wait, me? Are you challenging me?
I'm telling chat. Like, they're acting like.
Oh, okay, God, of course I would. I was gonna say what?
They're acting like, depending on who the person is. Okay, situational. Completely situational. Don't act like it's a.
Funny thing is, when you look at the crosstabs in polling, I think it's like about 1 in 10 voters say after the scandal broke. No, they said the polling question was, would you be more or less likely to vote for a candidate if they had an extramarital affair? And I think it was 1 in 10.
Well, he won white. He started losing. Yeah, he started losing favorability with like suburban voters, like, or older voters and women.
Right.
But he started making gains with white men. White men favored him more.
I think it was.
What?
Men in general, I think it was.
Yeah.
My editor Alex said dudes rock.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's not a joke. Like, literally, people are like, "Oh, really? He was having an affair? Like, pretty cool."
Yeah, and I think his share also increased among young voters, if I recall correctly, when looking at the cross.
Yeah, man, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean it does, but it's just still funny that there's those voters who would be more likely to vote for a candidate who cheated on his wife. But the funny thing is, his polling hasn't taken a huge hit. He still has a pretty like a 3-point lead, I think, in the polls. And that's an important race for Democrats because they.
No, they have to win it. It's a must win. It's a must win. They have to win North Carolina. They got to win Maine. They got to win Colorado. They got to win Arizona.
Colorado's gone. Colorado and Alabama are automatic flips. I bet the farm on it.
I mean, it's 53-47 right now, chat. So the Democrats are going to lose Alabama, so it goes to 54. So they have to find 4 wins, 4 flips.
Right.
North Carolina is one of those. And then they have reach seats like the Georgia seats, the Iowa seat, the Montana seat. Like, those are pretty unlikely, the Texas seat. So they have to win the North Carolina race. This is a must win.
The people
the Biden fucking presidency is a wrap, because if they don't win the Senate, they're getting nothing.
It's over. Absolutely. Look, the people of North Carolina have a decision to make. Are they going to go and vote for a guy who fucked someone else's wife? Or are they going to go and vote for a guy who's been fucking them literally nonstop? It's either or. Like, Tom Tillis is, from what I understand, not very popular. I mean, wasn't he also enamored in scandal there with the whole insider trading?
No, that was the other incumbent, Richard Burr. He won re-election in 2016.
Yeah, that was one of the races they barely
Right.
won. They barely won that. That was like a recount.
Sorry, Tom Tillis was only promoting hydroxychloroquine. Never mind. And while holding stock in its producer, that's different.
Every Republican is a fucking corrupt piece of shit.
Yeah, what I will say about Georgia, I think even in at least one of the runoffs, if Ossoff doesn't, and I think Ossoff is going to get a plurality of the vote on Tuesday. I don't think he's going to win outright because, if you don't get a majority of the vote in Georgia in a statewide election, it goes to a runoff in January. The special election, though, where you have, Loeffler, the Republican incumbent who was appointed, Doug Collins, the congressman, and then Warnock. I think Warnock is in a pretty.
Isn't there a Lieberman in that race? Or is that the Ossoff?
Lieberman is in Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in the Georgia special.
He's in the special election.
Yeah. The funny thing is that
fucking Lieberman
his campaign had enough polling to where he could have prevented. He could have had with enough of the vote he was getting, it could have been a Loeffler versus Collins runoff, and then Obama endorsed Warnock. And he went and railed against Obama on Twitter and just had a bizarre episode of tweets. And so now Warnock is definitely going to advance into the runoff. And the thing is about that election is that you have the two candidates, Loeffler and Collins, who are running way to the right and trying to fight for the conservative base because that's what they need in order to go in the runoff. So, the suburban, voters, swing voters in Georgia, a demographic that's becoming more blue, are seeing those ads and they're saying, oh, this candidate is like more right to the right than Brian Kemp. I don't think I'll vote for this candidate in the runoff.
Can he be to the right of Brian Kemp? That guy is.
Their ads portray them that way, though. More conservative than Attila the Hun. She's
also the one who said she never heard of the Access Hollywood tape.
Right. So she's dressing up as like, it's funny because
she also did insider trading. Like,
right.
Not literally.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
What are you talking about? That was a huge scandal. I think that's a way bigger scandal than like for the people of Georgia. Are they that cucked? And the answer is yes. The Republicans in most states are that cucked that they will vote for someone who literally lied to them directly. Both of the members in Georgia running for Senate seats did that, if I'm not mistaken. I think it wasn't just Loeffler. So yeah, the people of Georgia are going to do that. Perdue and Loeffler both literally traded stock while simultaneously lying to people. They had closed door meetings where they got information about how devastating coronavirus was going to be, and they both decided to make sure that their portfolio was intact rather than care about the people of Georgia, which they consistently lied to. So not really that shocking that these Democrats are doing better. Even John Ossoff, who grilled him pretty hard, if you ask me. I think Ossoff did a pretty good job with Perdue.
That was a really good clip.
That was a pretty good debate moment. I think, honestly, though, the thing with Perdue is it was several months ago. Loeffler's approval ratings, favorabilities are pretty bad, though. But so as a Virginian, I'll mention that the Senate race in Georgia is kind of reminiscent of the 2006 Virginia Senate race where Democrat Jim Webb beat incumbent Republican George Allen because you know what a tracker is, Hasan? Someone that's from the opposite party that kind of tracks, tries and catch candidates looking up.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say the word, but you can.
Yeah, no.
Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't. Never mind. Don't say it. Don't say it. Never mind. Don't say it.
He called the tracker, and he was trying to guess what his name was because he knew it started with an M, I think, is what his justification was. And he said a racial slur referring to the tracker of...
don't say it. Don't say it.
I'm trying to remember what language it was from. I'm not going to say it. And so he called him that, and George Allen barely lost in 2006, which was a Democratic year. But Virginia back then was still, it wasn't a Democratic state like it is now. George Bush won it by, a couple of points. And so it's kind of reminiscent of that.
Well, I think the Republicans have changed a bit too. They've been a little bit more hardened to that.
Sure. But it's not. It's not.
I don't think they give a fuck about that as much. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
And so, you have Georgia, one of the few states that swung leftward in 2016, and swung, leftward again in 2018 gubernatorial. It's kind of reminiscent of that, because Virginia was still, becoming more democratic because of Northern Virginia having a growing population. But it's very reminiscent of that. So if Ossoff wins outright on Tuesday, I think a big factor will be because of the David Perdue moment that is reminiscent of 2006's George Allen moment.
I'm going to make something that's probably makes our jobs a little bit easier and less interesting. But the truth is that split ticket voting is at an all-time low and declining.
Oh, yeah.
People are going in and just voting straight D, voting straight R. And so in 2016, there was not a single Senate race that split from the presidential race, meaning if Hillary Clinton lost the state, the Democratic candidate lost the state. And if the Democratic Senate candidate won the state, Hillary won the state. Well, so I kind of think all these seats are going to go the way very close to what happens with Biden and Trump. So if we want these Georgia races, we need Biden to probably win Georgia, or it's not going to happen.
I think Biden will carry Georgia.
Do you think they'll exercise in Texas? Like, do you think they'll bring it back? Or no? Is there no evidence to that? Like split ticket voting in Texas.
Oh, so yeah, back in 2018, straight ticket voting actually benefited down ballot Democrats because of how well Beto O'Rourke was doing at the top of the ticket. Republicans, they started to gut that in 2017 after Donald Trump became president. And so that's a big disadvantage the down ballot Democrats find themselves in. But honestly, with the down ballot district polling you're seeing in the swingy suburban districts, I mean, you have Biden and some of them doubling what Beto O'Rourke got in 2018 in some of these seats. And that may not be enough to help the down ballot Republicans. Mike is right. There's definitely a decline in split ticket voting. But you'll definitely see it in places like Kentucky, where you have conservative Democrats winning re-election in rural areas, while Trump gets something like 70% of the vote. You'll see it in Hawaii, where Biden is getting something like 60 or 70% of the vote, while a Republican wins handily. But that's just between the state legislative races and the presidential, not necessarily Senate and presidential, which is a lot more closely tied. The big thing is for Ossoff, though, is that he has to get a majority of the vote. He can't just win, with a plurality. He has to get a majority of the vote in order to win outright. If he goes to a runoff, he's going to be in a tough position because the Republican runoffs in Georgia are always more favorable to Republicans.
Anytime a special election typically leans Republican in a neutral sense. And I do think there will be certain level of release that brunch Democrats, might disengage a little bit. We never know, but I tend to I agree with you that I would want to go see a special election for any of these races in Georgia. I think that would definitely advantage the Republicans.
Yeah, I mean, the Georgia House, there's a very small chance. That's going to be an interesting chamber. Democrats are going to pick up seats, but in our forecast, it's not enough for the chamber to be competitive. The Atlanta suburbs, there's going to be several seats they pick up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But the state is so gerrymandered. I mean, if you look at Athens, Georgia, for example, where they just chop up the university there into two between two districts, and they kind of move the part of city of Athens into rural areas. At the end of the day, it's just not really that much of a competitive chamber in our forecast because of the gerrymandering. But at the end of the day, Biden's coattails will help Democrats in down ballot in the districts.
Assuming we hope he has coattails.
He'll have some, but it's just a matter of how big of the coattails are. I mean, there's kind of a gimme seat in the Atlanta suburbs, which were voted for Hillary Clinton, that Democrats left uncontested in 2018, and there are a few more. But even if Biden carries Georgia, unless he's winning it handily, something or handily for a Democrat, something like 4-5 points, I don't see the lower chamber flipping. So, we're probably going to see another Republican gerrymander in Georgia in the next round of redistricting next year.
At 269, I wouldn't count that out, honestly. I think
what's the map you have up here?
This is just a rotten brain map,
Oh no, it's the opposite map. It's the opposite map.
Yeah.
Where like Republicans win California.
There you go.
And then Democrats win Texas, Florida.
You'd be surprised if you delve enough into election prediction Twitter how many Republicans think they're going to win California and New York.
I've heard that before. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because they're delusional and they're in La La Land.
Well, it's also like when Republicans say that they can like win elections outright without voter suppression. It's just like a totally fucking insane made up concept in their mind.
Well, Trump tells them like, listen, if we do vote by mail every time, Republicans will never win again. Like he's telling the truth. Like,
that's the least delusional thing he says.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true in Utah though. Because the Republicans there love vote by mail.
Oh no, of course, which is why
if you if you actually look at it, like it increased Democratic support in Salt Lake City. It was significant, and that's why Mia Love flipped the seat in Utah. Or Mia Love was flipped out of the seat.
Right.
What year was that? Was that 2018 or 2016? Yeah, McAdams there in Utah. So yeah, Republicans maybe they love it, but they lost a congressional seat because of it, and that was in Utah. So that should tell you how powerful vote by mail is.
It was a gerrymandered seat as well.
Yeah. So, more vote by mail. If the Dems had any clue, they would be immediately pushing for an national automatic voter registration, vote by mail.
Yeah.
Nationalize our elections.
I got a fun tidbit for you guys. As of tonight, there are more Democratic votes cast than total registered Republicans in California, apparently. I don't know where you're getting that number or that information from.
Yeah, Trump's gonna get smashed.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
I mean, you say that, but then there's more Republican voters in California than like two solidly red states combined, maybe even three.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, of course. But
it's always so funny whenever Donald Trump says like "fuck these blue states" like California, but it's like you have more Republicans there than Nebraska.
Well, one of the reasons why the Democrats have a hard time holding on to the House is that California has a nonpartisan redistricting commission. If we could gerrymander California, we'd probably get 10 more seats out of California.
Well, the thing is that in California,
gerrymander California is what I'm saying.
I mean, the California congressional districts are kind of a slight gerrymander, honestly. I mean, they pack the redistrict. It is a independent redistricting commission, yes. But it's not necessarily nonpartisan because it is going to be packed with Democrats in 2022. 2021.
Gerrymander the fuck out of it. I hope they make all the Republican seats just like little octopuses. Because why? The Supreme Court said it's A-OK. Fuck it.
They're going to
rules. That's fucking do it. Gerrymander New York, gerrymander California, gerrymander Pennsylvania for the Democrats. Fuck yeah, let's do it.
I don't think if they gerrymandered New York, it wouldn't.
Well, yeah. Well, they got Cuomo, right?
It would be gerrymandering New York would somehow end up favoring Republicans.
Well, it did already. That's not even a joke. That's true. The Independent Democratic Caucus or whatever.
Yeah,
that was gerrymandered to give the Republicans control of the New York State Senate.
Did you
with
see
Cuomo's blessing? Yeah, that already happened.
I think I saw something where Cuomo is trying to help from preventing Democrats from getting a supermajority in the state Senate, which in our forecast, we think that's pretty likely. Because, they'd be able to veto. I mean, they're able to override his veto because they already have a supermajority in the lower chamber.
Oh, God, I can't wait. And that's AOC. In case you're wondering, like AOC and the DSA in New York have destroyed so many scum dino pieces of shit and thrown them out of office. And that has been a really key element to changing politics in New York and making it actually progressive. Cuomo being intimidated to pass a $15 minimum wage, the free college bill where Cuomo had to bring Bernie Sanders on when he signed the bill. Like all that is due to the millionaire tax, which he vetoed, but they're going to get that stuff. Like New York is going to get a progressive government.
Right.
What's really interesting is how neo-lib California is, like when you compare it to what's happening in the Northeast. I don't know. I think AOC's leadership is pretty interesting in New York. I'd love to see her get into the Senate. I'm hoping Kirsten Gillibrand gets appointed to some cabinet position so AOC can run for her seat. That would be great.
I wish we had more of a AOC type candidate in California as well, or at least like take advantage of how deeply blue California is and how progressive California could be. And instead, it's a safe haven for some of the more conservative Democrats in the party.
Well,
yeah,
De Leon,
yeah, he didn't run a good campaign that year, and he came within 8 points of beating Feinstein, but he just didn't have a good campaign.
Obama endorsed Feinstein over, of course, a Medicare for All endorsed supporting candidate. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that he supported the woman who flew the Confederate flag over San Francisco, got the Obama endorsement?
I think Obama was. I think it was because Obama is based pro BDS. That's why. That's why he endorsed Feinstein over anyone else. Yeah. Which, by the way, is like the most progressive thing that Feinstein has ever advocated for. Is that he's one of the 3 people in the Senate alongside Bernie Sanders that has openly talked about, openly stood against BDS legislation, anti-BDS legislation. Fun fact.
Is that true?
Yes,
wow,
that is true. She is even though she is a fossil, she is anti-BDS. Weirdly enough.
Katie Porter is really interesting because
yes, I love Katie Porter.
I love her too. And Chad, just so you know, the district she won has never been held by a Democrat. So she's one of the most progressive congresswomen in a district that is hard won. And of course, it's one of the more annoying narratives you run into when you talk about politics is a lot of people saying, well, we need to have moderate candidates run in these swing districts. And we just named 3 of them that are in swing districts this discussion: Matt Cartwright, Susan Wild, Katie Porter, and there's Kara Eastman in Nebraska. That's a very important seat. That's that Nebraska electoral college vote that you see that stripe across Nebraska.
That's gonna be a tough race.
Huge.
Brad Ashford, the former congressman, endorsed Bacon, right?
Yes, the centrist Democrat endorsed the Republican.
Have you seen the
running? What do you expect?
But I think Biden is going to carry that district, by the way, in the electoral college. But I think it's going to split its vote, and Bacon wins re-election. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a tight race, very tight. It was tight in 2018. Pundits and prognosticators didn't think it'd be tight because Kara Eastman is more of a progressive candidate, and that district, has a tendency to maybe want to elect more moderate candidates. But regardless,
oh shit, I don't believe it. The Kara Eastman race, it's sort of like PA 1, the PA First Congressional District with.
I can see that.
With I'm forgetting his name. Who ran in the PA 1? Help me out here. Give me a second.
Are you talking about
it was Wallace's. It was FDR's vice president's grandson,
Scott Wallace.
Scott Wallace, who supported Code Pink, was a
millionaire,
leftist,
out of touch
millionaire, but he was a left-wing, very anti-imperialist foreign policy, and the Democrats basically did everything they could to lose to Brian Fitzpatrick, and they succeeded by 1 point. There's many examples like that where the Democrats actively try to lose to a Republican if there's a progressive candidate. It's actually disgusting. And it happens constantly. The Maryland governor's race. I can go through a million of these, but centrist Dems are not your friend. Yes, we got to vote Biden, but tomorrow realize they're our enemy.
Hasan, I love what you changed the stream to. Chaz Nuttycombe, that's his real name, Keck W.
Wait, did someone else?
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my mods.
You'd be I get that all the time. That's pretty good.
Nutty.
That and the mods.
Wait, how do you pronounce that? I didn't want to mispronounce that. Is it Nuttycombe?
Nuttycombe.
Nuttycombe. Okay.
Nutty comb. Nutty
Okay,
comb.
Jesus.
Like you comb your hair.
Oh, okay. Nutty comb. Okay, Jesus.
I'm just letting you guys know that in a little bit, I'm not going to miss out on Trump's last rally in Michigan. I'm definitely
Yeah, sure. No problem.
I'm
dude.
definitely going to tune into that in like a little bit when he finally gets on stage there. I want to see these people of Michigan freeze.
Well, yeah.
In
How cold is it there right now?
I don't know. That's what I love looking at. Let's see what the temperature in Michigan is right now.
Oh, it's not that cold.
It's 42 degrees. God damn it. It's
what
not
about wind
even
chill? Wind's 15 miles an hour. Wind chill. Wind chill.
it's not
That's
it's
pretty
not
good.
sub-zero though. I mean, they're not even wearing gloves. It doesn't look too bad. I wish it was colder so these old fucks would fucking freeze out there when Donald Trump's campaign just ran out of money at this point, or literally
Fucking
ran out of money
warming,
already.
man.
Couldn't even fucking pay for their shuttles.
Right.
Well, one of the things to look for is if Biden does better, then, we all our minds always go to the close scenarios because that's what we fear. But if Biden actually wins a good win, a lot of people who are not even on your list as flipping will win. You saw that in the Virginia 2017, House of Delegates races.
Yeah, I got 96 out of 100 in that election. Which is
Lee Carter. Did you get Lee Carter?
I did not. I missed Lee Carter.
There you go. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Lee Carter, 9-point win.
Yeah, I went to Lee Carter.
Socialism will
when
win.
He first got in office, and I told him I owe him a drink when I turned 21. I turned 21 in May, so I gotta meet up with him at a bar, I guess, sometime in Nova if I ever go up there. Because I had that race as lean Republican and he won by 9 points. I was dead wrong in that race.
And then when he ran for re-election in 2019, the centrist Dems ran a former Republican who switched their party to Democrat for the primary, fully funded him.
Yeah, I knew he was going to win then.
He beat Lee Carter, beat his Democratic centrist challenger who ran to his right, and then he beat on the Republican challenger.
Yeah.
And then he immediately went and passed a law to make
Democrats didn't like primarying the incumbents.
Well, unless it's a progressive, in which case you're
this is a shocking revelation once again.
Yeah. But yeah, in 2017, I was a little bit too pessimistic on Democrats. I got 96 out of 100 districts right. 2018, I predicted, I was casting predictions for 4,880 districts. I think the percentage of correctness was 94.67. We at C Analysis, I've been working on this for a year. We're hoping to get, a big correctness rate on it. Everyone's saying Haasmod's in chat.
Oh yeah, what Lee Carter passed, he passed the law making insulin, I think it was $15 a month maximum charge, the lowest in the country.
Yeah, he's the most progressive legislator in Virginia, hands down.
He's been very effective in office. And that's one of the things that, people who are anti-electoralists, when you see just with a little bit of power, just in the past 4 years, progressives and socialists who have won have actually managed to do quite a bit.
Especially if you look at like New York, right? There's been a lot of progressive victories there in the state legislative races and primaries. New Mexico as well. Although one of the wins may be endangering one of the seats because it voted for Trump. It's a Republican leaning district, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, overall, progressives are doing better in down ballot races more and more. And, there's starting to be a big, in the primaries we saw this year in down ballot races, there was a big rebuke against incumbent legislators, Democrats or Republicans. And that may be because of the pandemic, but yeah, the incumbency advantage is kind of withering away.
Holy shit, Eric's there. I guess they really are.
No, Eric was at the other. Eric was at the other one too. He didn't let him talk, but he let Laura talk.
Is this in Beaver?
Really,
County?
Laura talked?
Yeah, this is Grand Rapids. This is his last. He let Laura talk. He let Ivanka talk. He let Jared talk.
Did Tiffany talk?
No, fuck no. What are you, crazy? No, he didn't even ask Tiffany to be on stage, and then Jared waved Tiffany on stage.
Did you?
And he let he of course let he even let Donald Trump Jr. talk, but Eric did not get to talk. Or did he talk?
You this was in Grand Rapids?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's in Grand Rapids. No, the previous one was, I forget where it was.
If the big thing in Grand Rapids is that from polling we've seen there, that area is swinging bit hard to the left, more than what Gretchen Whitmer got in her 2018 race. And I have no idea why. I mean, it is a district that's an area that swung left in 2016. But, Justin Amash, the only libertarian in the Congress, represents that seat. He's not running for re-election. And polling shows that Biden's going to win that seat. And, Trump won that district by 10 points. So that's a big sign of how much trouble he is in Grand Rapids. Okay. And yeah, if you look at the state legislative forecast, we have 2 very gerrymandered Republican districts that are likely Republican. And in one of those seats, the Republican won by like 20 points. But we have Democrats picking up nationally 123 state legislative districts in single member districts. It'll be total a little bit more because of multi-member districts between like New Hampshire, Vermont, Arizona. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the down ballot races, because in a sense this year that has big implications for redistricting in some of these states, especially in Texas, because they're going to gain 3 congressional districts.
All right. Well, Donald Trump's coming up now, and I got to run 2 minutes of ads to make up for the 2 ad breaks that I fucked up.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on, Hasan.
Thank you for coming on, guys.
Hit me up tomorrow if you want me to come on.
Will do. They're spamming your information, but where can they find you again?
Well, Pennsylvania is going to be a super clusterfuck too, so who knows how long.
Well, that'll be a few days. California and Arizona will be, at least a week.
All right. Let me just say, everybody, twitch.tv/central_committee. Mike from PA on Twitter. Follow me. Stream politics. So if you want another politics streamer, I'm your man. Early in the morning on the weekends too.
We'll be live streaming tonight as well, coming with the results. I forgot to mention that.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for bringing me on, bud.
All right, no problem.
If you want more leftists on this platform and other platforms that actually go into deep dives about issues like finance and electoral politics, you're never going to find a better stream than this one. Here's some things you can do. I'm posted YouTube content constantly. We had another Jimmy Dore video. We had a not safe for stream debate with conservatives where Vosh and I and Denims debated with a bunch of conservatives about voter fraud. You have the dumbass takes of uniting with fascists. Get in there.